What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Enter the Chat gaming podcast, the most scuffed gaming podcast on the internet. Rico's already having internet issues, so I'm sure that I'm going to have to edit some out of this particular episode. But I am Nico, joined as always by my co-host Rico.
Hello, everybody.
And Toby.
Yay.
And we get together each week and just talk about whatever gaming stuff comes to mind. Recently we've had just plenty of stuff to talk about because we had a lot of the handheld stuff that we talked about in cloud gaming. Then we had Overwatch 2 come out, which was last week's entire episode. We talked about Overwatch 2. This week we have quite a bit of stuff to talk about as well, but we haven't done in a while, and I kind of want to just talk about what games we're playing or we're excited to play, because I know like a million things just dropped. So
A million things dropped, a million more coming out.
yeah, there's a lot to play right now. So what's everybody playing? We're gonna start with Toby.
Of course, we start with me. Okay, let's go. So I have been playing League, the Tide and True, but really just like sparingly recently. Um, I've been playing Skyrim because I've been busy as all can be lately. I need to just be able to drop a game on a dime and not think about it. And I've played that game so many freaking times that there's no concern with where I'm at. I'll just know what to do. And then the final game that I want to play is COD because I just bought it today and downloaded it. So I'm hyped to get into that campaign.
Fair. And you're playing. Did you buy COD on PC?
I did. I
Okay.
did.
I didn't know if you got it on your console or not.
No, I'm not I don't like shooters on console. I'm even worse, believe it or not. Like I'm trash on PC, but I'm even worse on console.
I was just curious. Rico, what about you? What have we been playing?
Let's see. Really, it's been 3 games lately. One being Overwatch 2. Still been putting a little bit of time into that, getting it mostly out of my system before I dive back into the world of COD, and it'll firmly have its grasp around me again. What else? Also been playing a bit more Dead Cells again. That game has sucked me back in with the fast-paced rogue-like mechanics that just, yeah, I can't get away from it. It's just it's like Hades. It's just a nice, quick, and easy game to like pick up if you have some time to kill.
Mm-hmm.
And then another one, which was a game that was like originally on my radar before it came out, and then by the time it did, I don't know what it was. I just didn't grab it at the time. But when I went and put in a bunch of my pre-orders in, I checked out the games, saw they had it pre-owned for like a pretty decent price, and decided to grab it. It came out after Deathloop, so I think it's the official like last Bethesda title to be out on PlayStation's Ghostwire Tokyo.
Oh, I forgot about that game, truthfully.
Yeah. And let me just say, like, honestly, it's not a bad game. It's pretty decent game, and it might honestly be something like up your alley because it's not a big game either.
Mm-hmm.
And like once you start, it gets going like pretty quickly because the actual story mode in it isn't like that long either. I think I saw online it only takes like 14 hours to beat roughly.
Oh, that ain't bad. That ain't bad at all.
But the thing I like about it most is that like it's the type of open world game I like where you'll be like going to the main objective, but then you'll be doing like 30 or 50 different things along the way, from just different stuff to find and collect to like the side missions, which the side missions actually aren't that bad. They're not like big fleshed out side missions that other open world RPGs would have. They're just like quick little things that you can just like finish in about like 5 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah, I forgot. Maybe I'll catch that one on sale because Black Friday's coming up. So maybe I can catch I got a bunch of games that I want to like see if I can catch on sale at like Target and stuff.
I was gonna say on sale or eventually gets added to Game Pass since it's a Bethesda title.
That is true. It could be added to Game Pass. I've been playing a lot, if you can believe it.
Rocker.
I know. So got the tried and true. We got our Fortnites, our Dead by Daylights. Playing a lot of Overwatch. Just the usual stuff that you hop on with the boys and play. In terms of single player though, there's been quite a few things because I recently picked up a Steam Deck, and we can talk about that later in the video or in the podcast. But so I've been playing just a bunch of stuff on that, just testing out what it can do. Things like Forza Horizon 4 I've been playing a lot of lately. I've been playing quite a bit of Phasmophobia. I got really into that because, Dead by Daylight isn't on the Steam Deck. So I was trying to find my spooky fix on Steam Deck. So Phasmo was verified, and I've been hopping in on that, really enjoying that one. I got Assassin's Creed Origins on there. I picked up both Assassin's Creed Origins and Assassin's Creed Odyssey because they were on sale for like $8 a piece on Steam. And oddly enough, we talked recently about Assassin's Creed games and how I haven't been a huge fan of the new RPG style. And I don't know if it's just I've been craving an RPG, or like I haven't played an MMORPG like consistently in so long that maybe I was itching for something like that. But I am really enjoying Assassin's Creed Origins, getting the different armors and upgrading my character. I don't know if it's because I went into it expecting it to not be an Assassin's Creed game, just be like an RPG, or what it was, but I'm really enjoying it.
Yeah, that could be because, like, I mean, when it first came out, like, that was the first, like, huge different Assassin's Creed game for years prior. So, like, I'm pretty sure a lot of people went in thinking it's like, this isn't like the same Assassin's Creed I used to.
Yeah.
But now going into it now, knowing what to expect, you can see it from almost like a refreshed perspective.
And then on the Switch side of things, review coming up for this one tomorrow. Nier Automata on Switch, fantastic. It's so good on the Switch. I've never played the series at all. I hopped in because it came to Switch, and that's kind of my shtick. And it's really freaking good on Switch. And that's coming as well as No Man's Sky. It's just a combined video because the games have been out for years. It's hard to write a script for two games that have been out already, and everybody knows what the hell they are. So I just kind of mushed them into one video. That's coming up tomorrow on my main channel if anybody wants to check that out. The final thing that I picked up today, because I had it on pre-order, but I've been working, was Mario and Rabbids, the new one, Sparks of Hope.
Oh yeah, that did come out today.
I really enjoyed the first one. Got that XCOM feel. This one takes a step away from like you have to move your character to this location. You can fully move your character within a designated area in this one. And it kind of leads to some really cool combinations because you can swap between any of the characters, and the turn is only over for that character when they finally shoot their gun. So you can like move a character to an X spot, and then you can move another character and do like a super jump between the two, and then shoot with that character, and then go back to it's really, really cool that how it's not like you move a character, then you move another, like a chess game. It's more like a fluid, like multiple pieces moving at the same time thing. I really, really like it. I played like a couple hours of it, maybe 3-4 hours of it today, laying on the couch. Really like it. So a lot of stuff. But yeah, Kata's on the radar because that's coming up next week. Really looking forward to that one.
Just next week. How did time fly by so quickly?
But let's get into what Rico and I have been kind of discussing quite a bit on Twitter. And Toby has also been aware of this. So Gotham Knights just came out. Yeah. Well, it comes out tomorrow, actually. But the reviews came out today. The embargo got lifted, and the reviews came out in... I want to start by saying, holy shit, I've not seen a game been reviewed this poorly in a while.
I was gonna say, like, I saw like a few like oddly like high reviews, but for the most part, it's just like...
Yeah, I think the highest I've seen is a 5.
Oh god.
Yeah, and like since I saw the first gameplay for this, I knew I wasn't going to be super invested anyways. It reminded me too much of Avengers, and like I appreciate it as someone who played Avengers all the way through, enjoyed the hell out of the campaign. The end game of Avengers was just not it. It was not it, and that it just gave me too much Avengers vibes, and I think that's pretty much what we ended up getting.
It's just like, I don't get why like both Avengers and Gotham Knights decided to go like the pretty much live service route, because it's not what anybody wants from these IPs, really.
No.
Both like the Batman universe and Avengers universe, so many stories that can be like adapted and turned into a video game, and it's just squandered in the form of just a live service beat 'em up game.
Yeah, it has been getting atrocious reviews. But we want to talk about it for a different reason, because they came out and said that the game is now locked at 30 FPS on all hardware. And it's only on next-gen systems. It's only next-gen. You can, if it ever comes to Game Pass, play it on last-gen through like the streaming, because now that's a thing with Game Pass. But it's only on next-gen hardware, and it's capped at 30 FPS. And the reason that they gave just makes me chuckle. It makes me giggle, because they're blaming it on the Series S. The Xbox Series S, the digital only next gen Xbox. That's what they're blaming this on, and it makes no sense at all.
Yeah. So for some context, like the reason they gave is like when they said like when they develop games, when they're like working on, like capping like the FPS and all that stuff, they have to work it around towards like the basically like low end of whatever consoles it's gonna be on. And basically they just said like for whatever reason it was the Series S in that retrospect. So that's why they were saying like the Series X is holding back these next gen games, which that just kind of makes me go like, are they? Are they really?
I I can't imagine that they really are, because then later, like 2 days after they made this statement, right? 2 days, then it comes out that this game doesn't even feature a performance mode. It's just fidelity mode all the time.
Yeah, it just doesn't make sense.
And like that right there is just, in my mind, laziness. Like, especially with the reviews that this game's getting, it probably could have just waited. You could have waited, polished this game up a bit, and then put in a performance mode and a fidelity mode, and got that 60 FPS that people are looking for, and you might have gotten a little higher score. But the fact that we've had, fidelity and performance mode since the last generation on the PS4 and the PS4 Pro, or the Xbox One, the Xbox One X, I like booting up God of War on the PS4 Pro. You had the option to play in 60 FPS or 4K 30 FPS. That's been a thing since last gen. Why is it not included in this game to support the lower end of the hardware?
It's hard to say. Like you said, it could come down to laziness, or maybe like they just didn't manage their time properly, but didn't want to like really admit it, or they were trying to just like rush, not necessarily like rush the game out, but wanted to get it out like in time for the holidays, but also didn't want to push it back when the next couple months are already going to be loaded with big releases. So it may have performed even less than satisfactory if they pushed it back. It can be a plethora of reasons, but saying that the Series S is the reason why it's capped at 30 across all platforms is just it's definitely a weird new one to hear.
Yeah, and like, I mean, what is there any other game that is just like, no, you can't, like, I've seen games say you can't play the fidelity mode on the Series S. Like, that makes perfect sense. Well, that makes a lot of sense. But I haven't seen any game just be outright like, this has to be 30 FPS because of the hardware. I owned a Series S, and I have not encountered any of that. I played, Forza Horizon 5 on it, played the last couple Call of Duties on it, especially when you consider the fact that most of these games that are coming out right now are still coming out on the last-gen hardware.
Yeah, like especially like next big one is actually God of War Ragnarok. I'm pretty sure that's still coming out on last gen as well. But even on PS4 Pro, that's still gonna be able to run 60.
Yeah, it's so funny. And I'm wondering if they almost, like, with how the reviews have gone, and this is just me completely tinfoil hatting this, but I'm almost wondering if they did this to, like, soften the blow. Like, they knew what they were putting out, and they were like, well, let's try to blame it on something, to try to distract from the fact,
But did it though?
No, it didn't. It didn't,
Definitely not.
because Rico sent me something today on Twitter that the developers of Surgeon Simulator were complaining about the same thing. They're the only two companies that I've seen complain about this. And for one, it's Surgeon Simulator. Like, what? What are we? What?
Like who I was gonna say, like who's caring about playing a Surgeon Simulator at 60 at all, or expects to play it at 60? Like it's an app game that came to consoles.
It's just weird. It's very weird to see that be the thing. But like, I don't know. It's just like, I think honestly, delay Gotham Knights. Don't start the whole Xbox conversation to begin with, because then everybody jumps on the bandwagon and starts complaining about Xbox. When Xbox is doing fun, Forza runs and looks great on the Series S. Gears of War 5 looks and runs fantastically on the Series S. Halo looks and runs, like, everything looks great on the Xbox side of things. It's not Xbox's fault that other companies can't put their. It's like Nintendo. Think about how good Nintendo games look on their hardware, because they know how to milk that hardware. It's not their fault that other companies can't put games on there.
Yeah, it's like there's ways that devs can make it work. They just gotta figure it out on their own. Because, like you said, like Nintendo, like obviously like has the weakest like hardware out of all the consoles. But like you said, with Nintendo's games, they make it work. They know how to make their hardware work. So even though none of these games are going to be doing 60 on a Switch, they're going to look just perfectly fine doing 30.
And there's even third-party companies that come and like Square's really good at putting their games on Switch. Most of the time Platinum Games is very good at putting their games on Switch. Obviously, there's hits and misses, but like there are companies that have figured it out on Switch. Like look at Monster Hunter Rise. There's no reason Monster Hunter Rise should look that good running on the Switch. And it's fantastic. So like it's the same deal with the Series S. Figure it out. Or cap it at 30 FPS, add a fidelity mode for those that have the beefier hardware.
Yeah, and people would be like way more okay with that. It's like, okay, yeah, I understand you can't run this mode on the Series S just because it doesn't have the power to do that. But if it's available on other platforms, then yeah, that's fine.
And like I don't know, it's just I with the way the reviews have gone, I can't take them seriously with this complaint.
I fully foresee them down the line announcing like plans to add an update that adds in like a fidelity mode or something to Gotham Knights, just to sort of like try and douse the fires a bit.
Here's
But
what
even so, that's
you can save.
still won't help
This
the
game could have
reviews.
been saved. Okay, I don't think it would have been like an 8 or 9 out of 10. I think it was going to be like an average run of the mill game, right? But push it back, delay it again. Hasn't it been delayed already? I don't remember. Delay it till early next year. Early next year, put it right in the sweet spot, that dry spell right after February where no games come out for a while, right before May, put it right in that window. Because look at all the games that perform super good. Like Outriders came out in that window. That game performed phenomenally. That's an average run-of-the-mill game. Dying Light 2, both Dying Lights came out in that window. They're good games, but they're nothing to like be amazed at. But they came out in that window and they had that, that success because there was nothing else to play at the time. We were all fiending for something. Delay this game till then, add a fidelity mode for the next gen hardware and the higher, beefier next gen hardware, and then, polish it up, make it look pretty, release it in that window. I think we have a different story on our hands.
Yeah, possibly. I mean, obviously it was still like a lot more work to make it like a decent game, but just like adding the 60, you'll get into a lot more people's good graces. And if someone like out there like really enjoys like the Bad Family and like DC and all that stuff, they're not gonna care as long as you just like give them a good looking game.
Yeah. I mean, what comes to mind, I just thought of this. The Plague Tale sequel. That one is 30 FPS across the board. And I haven't heard anyone really complaining about it. I haven't heard anybody saying a whole lot. I mean, I've seen a couple tweets here and there, but like for those single player games, I don't think it really matters as long as the game looks fantastic,
Yeah, and like if the because the game before for it, the first one, eventually got a PS5 mode for it, and that game looks. I haven't finished it, but it just looks gorgeous. Probably one of like the best looking games you could play out there, and I expect no less from the sequel. Whether it's running at 30 or 60 doesn't matter.
And I can see a lot of companies going that route. If the higher ups of the company are saying we need to get this game out right now, and they're just like, okay, here's the game. It's 60 FPS right now. We're gonna add an update later for a fidelity mode. I think that could be just a better route. Just have that transparency with fans, and just say this is what's going on. They want it out now, but we're gonna add an updated mode. I think a lot of people would be totally fine with that.
Yeah, like because it's like I'm trying to like think like obviously I don't pay attention too much to like when I'm playing games like what kind of frames they're running at. But it's like, do you guys even like ever like if you go from playing like a 60 FPS to a 30 FPS game, do you feel it really matters a whole lot, or do you think it might differ from like game to game?
Um, from my multiplayer experiences, I like 60. I like 60 or up. But that's just like as a like I want to perform well kind of thing. But you're talking to somebody that plays the vast majority of their games single player experiences on the Nintendo Switch. So for me, frames
That's true.
really do not matter. Just make the game look good. Like make it run and playable, and I'm happy. Perfect example is No Man's Sky that just came out. Go ahead, Toby.
I just think it depends on the type of game. Like how Nico was saying that like multiplayers, like if you want to compete, then you have to have the 60 frames, but I've never once thought to myself, "Oh, my single player game is 30 FPS. This is atrocious." Like, no, I don't care. I just play.
I was gonna say Skyrim is your favorite game. You've never cared about frames.
Not a chance.
Not to mention, let me reiterate on multiplayer though, because like Gotham Knights is multiplayer. I'm saying competitive multiplayer where it actually freaking matters.
Right, that's what I figured what you meant.
Yeah, just to clarify, because I just see somebody
Yeah,
commenting
your
and
Call of
I mean,
Duties, your Overwatch.
yeah, it's just it's such a silly thing that I'll be curious to see if more companies start coming out and being like, this is holding us back. But like, we've got the new Call of Duty coming out. I have a Series S in my house still, so I will play it on that just to see how it runs, just to like we can rehash this in a week. Um, and I'm sure it'll be fine. It'll be pretty as hell on the Series S. I've never had an issue with that console. I've honestly been considering getting another one just for my living room.
Fucking, just fucking move the one you have. God damn it!
Well, it's not mine anymore. It's my fiance's. So.
Like it fucking matters.
It's hers.
You gotta fucking ring.
It's in her office. She plays her Fortnite on it, and she plays her Overwatch on it.
That's right. I forget how. I forgot that's how it works. What's hers is hers, and what's yours is also hers.
Yep. Well, to be
doesn't
fair,
go the other way.
In her defense, okay, she gave me her old Switch when she wanted an Xbox because she wanted my Series S, and she gave me her Switch to trade in because they were running a deal at GameStop. You got like an extra X amount. She's like, trade this in, buy yourself the Series X. So I'm gonna say it's hers.
Don't give me that shit. That was her trade-in deal, so she can get that ring off of you.
But anyways, I'm curious to see if anything else comes out of it. If any other companies start coming out and saying, this is a problem, because right now I have a hard time buying it with the review scores that this is getting. I think this was like a trying to soften the blow situation.
I feel like if companies are smart, they don't go the route of just like, blaming the lowest common denominator, because that's just going to lead to more backlash than what they would want to deal with.
Yeah, because think about this, okay? Think about one of the biggest games coming out next year in February. Hogwarts Legacy, right? This is going to be a massive game.
Yep.
Massive game. What's this game getting? A fucking Nintendo Switch port. This game is coming to Switch. And Gotham Knights can't handle 60 FPS?
60 FPS or make a... I mean, the 30 FPS does look good, but still.
I'm not buying it, I'm just not buying it.
Yeah, like, of all games, like, why Gotham Knights? Like, there's been so many games that have come to Switch that have been, you could consider, like, graphically more powerful than what you'd think the Switch can handle. And the Switch, even though in some aspects, there have been some rough-looking ones. Borderlands 3 comes to mind as one. But for the most part, it can handle it.
Yeah. It's just... It's interesting. Like I said, I'm curious to see what comes of it. What comes and I'm curious to see sales numbers for Gotham Knights, truthfully, because I was looking at my Steam Deck today. I was like, I just wanted to see if it was Steam Deck compatible, in case they pulled like a Fallout 76 situation, where the game did so badly that it was like $10 the next week. So I was just seeing if it was going to be Steam Deck compatible, because I totally check it out on there if they drop the price. But I forgot it comes out tomorrow. So I'll be curious to see sales numbers and see what happens with it.
They probably won't be too good. I can already see it right now.
So, hey, maybe I'll pick it up on sale. But anyways, let's talk about Steam Deck, because I want to talk about it because I'm really happy about it.
Yeah, I'm aware you're happy about it.
It's so crazy. It's just good. Okay, but I want to start by saying that I do have some quarrels with it. I did my first impressions video on it. My biggest complaint being the battery life. Obviously, this is a PC in your hands. So like when you think about like updating your games and like changing how they look, you could do it just like a PC. You change your texture resolutions, your shaders, your shadows, all that stuff is at your fingertips on the Steam Deck. So you can kind of tweak games to get the most out of your battery life, but you're gonna take some fidelity hits as a result of it. But that being my biggest complaint with the system, it's fantastic. It really is. It's a freaking awesome system, and it is, in my opinion, the cheapest way currently to get into PC gaming.
Yeah, I can definitely see that because like you're able to. I don't know if this is like something like seems like it comes with the components for it, but like you're basically able to hook it up to your monitor or whatever and like play it off of that if you wanted to, right?
You are. So you can also, and
It's
this is not Steam approved or anything. This is like some backwards, because you can do a lot of stuff with PCs you can't do with consoles. You could throw like it runs on the Linux OS system instead of Windows, but you can reprogram it to run Windows. So you can get around a lot of the issues that you face because like currently, like I was mentioning earlier, Dead by Daylight's not playable on the Steam Deck, and that's because Dead by Daylight runs on an anti-cheat system that runs through Windows. So because it's on Linux, you can't play Dead by Daylight. Same with games like Call of Duty. A lot of the games with anti-cheat systems you just can't play on the Steam Deck natively because of that issue. But you can, backwards, rig your system. Probably voids your warranty if you do it. But you can
probably
backwards rig your system to put Windows on it. That's not something I have any interest in doing. But you can do it. But like you were saying, it's awesome because you can get the Steam Dock, or you can just go to Walmart. This is what I did to record videos for it. You can go to Walmart and just get an adapter that has an HDMI port to a USB-C, which is the power supply on a Steam Deck. And those adapters come with an additional USB-C port, so you can charge it and have it hooked up to the HDMI, so you can stream it to a monitor. You can put in a couple USB ports on there, and you can use your mouse and keyboard on it. Like you can use it like an actual PC, and they have the Steam Dock for $90 that has all of those things included. So that way you can sit there and literally set it up in front of a monitor and play it just like a normal PC.
normal PC or basically an extra powerful Switch.
Exactly. And that to me is super, super cool. I bought the $520 version, which came with like 252 gigabytes of storage. And it accepts micro SD cards, so you can upgrade the storage really easily. So for like that price to get into PC gaming and have access to the vast majority of games on the market, that is super, super awesome. Obviously there are some, slight complications. You'll notice if you get the Steam Deck, the big thing is when you go to the Steam store, it shows stuff like, like what's like there's a thing called like deck ready, and it has a little green check mark, meaning these games have been play tested and run on the Steam Deck, so they are 100% approved to be perfect out the box on the hardware. Then there's other games, that have like a little eye, and this is like maybe it'll work, maybe not. A lot of those they're fine, like Assassin's Creed, perfect. It has the little like yellow eye little warning. It's because you have to like boot up your Uplay account and log into your Uplay to like boot it up through there. But other than that, it works like no problem. A lot of the little yellow eyes also, and this is something that cracks me up, it's only not deck verified, quote unquote, because small text is the warning that you get. The text might be small. You're playing on a handheld system. It's all small, damn it. Okay.
It's all small. It's not small, it's average.
So like half of the games that are like, oh, this is a warning, don't play this, they're fine. They run perfect. They look great. Like another example is Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order has that little warning because again, you boot it up through the EA Play launcher, and then it has small text. So that is something you see an awful lot. And then there's just games you just can't play, like Call of Duty, Destiny. However, this thing is great for streaming. Because if you do have a gaming PC, say you're buying this to basically be your Nintendo Switch for your PC games, this can stream from your PC to the Steam Deck. Any of the PC games that don't work natively. So like Dead by Daylight, if I have my PC on and I click stream game from PC, it'll run the game through my computer to my Steam Deck through the internet in my house, and I can play Dead by Daylight on my Steam Deck still. Same happens with Call of Duty. So I could still play all of those games that are not deck verified through my PC if my PC can handle them, and then play it on handheld, laying in bed or on the couch, what have you.
So basically, the Steam Deck is a fucking creation of Gabe Newell's own like crazy mastermind.
Yeah, it is. It's just a really, really nice system, and like a lot of the games, again, the battery life is a big thing. Like when I was playing Assassin's Creed
Right.
Origins, I was running it at high graphics, I capped it at 30 FPS because I just didn't want to mess with any possible glitches. And I mean, it's the last generation game, so 30 FPS looks great on it, anyways. Um, I cap it at 30 FPS, and I get about an hour and a half to 2 hours out of the system, which it doesn't sound like a lot, but I mean, if you're thinking about the use case of an actual Steam Deck, most people probably aren't taking their handheld out of the house that frequently. They really aren't.
No,
And if they do, they
definitely
have a
not.
power bank or they have their charger, this, that, or the other with them so they could charge it on the go, do that. So, like, for me, my Steam Deck has been like, I'm bored of sitting at my desk. I'm gonna go lay on the couch and watch TV, and I'm gonna play Phasmophobia while I'm doing that. Or my fiance wants to go to bed. She's laying there. I'm not tired yet. I'm playing Forza Horizon 4 in bed. It's been that kind of use case. And then obviously for like just game reviews and stuff for my main channel, I'm playing a bunch of stuff on there for playtest purposes. But like for me, the 2 hour battery life that I think is an issue is not really an issue for me personally.
Yeah, I think the only issue would be is like because one of its main uses obviously would be like travel. Being able to like take it with you if you've got like a long trip going somewhere, and just wanting to keep yourself entertained. So you bring your Steam Deck along and you want it to last you a good bit of your trip. Because like I'm a big like professional wrestling fan. I follow a lot of wrestlers and all the things wrestling, and a lot of the ones like I follow, they're like big gamers
Mm-hmm.
too, and you know, since they're always like they're traveling all over the country, flights or really long car rides and stuff like that. I've been seeing like a lot, like more and more lately, getting Steam Decks so that they can like play them while they're on the road traveling. So that's a pretty good deal. Like you're not gonna be home much, be able to play at your PC setup or
Yeah.
anything. What's gonna help? A handheld device that's almost, if not just as powerful as your PC, and you can play all the same games on it.
Yeah. And I've been watching a lot of like accessory videos and stuff, just for like my own ideas for YouTube. Um, but just to like see what people are getting battery pack, there's really good power banks out there that you can get for like portable gaming with the Steam Deck. So it is an issue, but if you have expendable income, which if you're buying a Steam Deck, you have expendable income, uh you can just get a power bank if that's something that's really a problem for you. The other issue that I would say this definitely has is the storage on it. Um, the cheapest model of the Steam Deck available is I believe $400. Comes with 64 gigabytes of space. That's not enough for like anything. You're gonna install one or two games and you're gonna be out of space. Uh, so you're spending a lot of money. You don't have a lot of space, and you're gonna have to buy, especially because it's only digital. It's not like a Switch, where you spend the 350 or the 300 for a Switch and you put an SD card in it and you can buy physical cartridges that don't take up any space. You have to install all of these on the system, so you're gonna eat up a lot of space on your hardware. So you're gonna have to spend additional money with the Steam Deck, and that's just something that people have to be aware of. That's another con I have with the system is you have to spend the extra money if you want to put a fair chunk of games on there.
Spend more money after you already dropped who knows how much just to get the Steam Deck. But that's just about how it goes with any system. You're gonna spend a ton of money on a PC, a console, whatever, and just when you think that's the end of it, boom, you're gonna end up dropping more money to actually like get use out of it.
Yeah. So Toby, as a PC
Yeah.
gamer, what do you have any questions for the Steam Deck? Because I know this is like, of all the things, this is probably the most oriented toward you.
He's like frothing at the mouth.
Um, I would. The hard part is really how much do those power banks cost? Because you're like, oh, if you have the money to buy a Steam Deck, then you have expendable money. No, okay? Now you listen to me, all right? I have spent, I have saved up dollar bill after dollar bill to get my PlayStation 4 when I bought it. All right. So sometimes, people are doing that type of thing. So for people that want to get the Steam Deck and they're saving their, spare change here and there to get it, how much would it cost to get one of those power banks? Because the average Joe, unlike Rico's wrestling people, they aren't going to be in these fancy cars that have outlets or anything when they're driving places as a passenger. So, their 2 hours is going to require them to have a power bank to actually continue using this thing?
I believe most of them are around the $45 to $60 range.
Okay, so they're not unreasonably priced.
No, they're not super crazy, about the price of a full of a game.
Yeah, so that's good. That was like my biggest thing while sitting here listening to you hype up the Steam Deck. I was like, man, like that honestly does sound kind of rough with only an hour and a half to 2 hours
And that
of
varies on the
playtime.
game. Like Forza, I can get a lot more playtime out of. And like Forza looks fantastic on the Steam Deck. Like it's amazing. I get a lot more out of Forza. I get a lot more out of Phasmo. I get quite a bit out of No Man's Sky on there. So it just depends on the game and how graphically intense the game is and how much you're willing to compensate on the graphical fidelity. Because like I could turn down a lot of the settings on like Assassin's Creed Origins, run it like it would look on a Switch, right? And I could get a lot more battery life out of the system. But because I want to play it at that higher fidelity, I'm sacrificing my battery life for it.
Yeah, okay. And then another thing is, so for games, and we kind of talked about this earlier, but for games um, that have mod capabilities, how does that work with it?
So for most of them, I'm fairly confident it has to be, unless you want to do the backwards Windows way of installing Windows onto the Steam Deck. I haven't seen any guides or anything personally that show how to put mods in for like, Skyrim or stuff. But a lot of those games now have it built in to the does Fallout 4 have that now as well where you can just install
Yeah,
them there?
yeah.
Yeah. So
I'll
for those, you can do the same thing as you would with like an anniversary edition on Xbox, that kind of stuff. You download it straight from the game. I haven't seen anything about putting actual mods like you would on PC though, onto the Steam Deck. I'm sure with the Windows port, like I said, it's more than doable, but you're gonna eat up more hard drive, well, more of your storage space by doing so.
Well, yeah, obviously, as you do with PC or Xbox, PlayStation, whatever the heck you download mods on. Yeah, I mean, it sounds like a great deal to me. I mean, it's a USB-C charger. It's the most common charger in the world right now. Almost everyone has one of those things. If you have any other gaming system, you have one of those.
Now,
So it's like that's
with
a power
with
move.
that being said though, if you're trying to charge this and you don't have a powerful enough charger, you're only going to like delay the battery decrease. It's not going to charge the system while you're playing it like a Switch would. You have to have a charger that's powerful enough to charge the system while you're playing games on it. The one that comes with it normally does do that, but you have to make sure if you're buying a new one that you have one that's powerful enough, because otherwise you'll get a little message. I tested it myself with my just my Switch Pro controller charger, and just a a standard box that you'd plug into the wall for like your iPhone or something. But it'll tell you that the charger is not strong enough to keep this charging while you're playing games.
I
That's
mean, but
that's
even
just
if it
something to know.
adds like 30 minutes to your game time, that's still nice.
Yeah, and you can go. There is a nice feature. You can change it to set the settings per game. So, for example, if I wanted to have Assassin's Creed set up a certain way so that way I was getting the most battery life out of it, I can set a preset save for that game that as soon as I boot it up, it'll change the graphical settings. Like it'll cap it at 30 FPS, it'll cap the resolution at this number. It'll do this, that, or the other to make sure that game's running how I want it to maximize whatever I want out of the system.
That's pretty sweet too.
It's very, very nice. It's incredibly nice. I seriously, if you like want to get into PC gaming, this is an excellent stepping stone. On top of that, another fun thing you could do with the Steam Deck, and this is something I tested that I think is just magnificent. Okay, you can put, and currently you can't install it natively, which is a bummer, but I'm hoping they're working on a workaround for it. Game Pass is available on the Steam Deck. You can get Game Pass set up on the normal Linux OS. I did it myself. I have a video on it. And I play tested it. It is amazing. We just recently talked in a previous episode about cloud gaming and how we didn't think the infrastructure was quite there yet. Xbox is there, baby. If you have a decent internet connection, Xbox is there. I tested Forza Horizon 5 on the Steam Deck streaming it through the xCloud, and I only noticed input lag when I was playing on my monitor. When I was playing it handheld, zero input lag. So it's kind of like if you play on a TV without a high enough refresh rate for any console, you get that slight input lag. That's kind of what it's like playing the xCloud through the Steam Deck on a monitor. But playing handheld, I noticed no issues. Um, in Fortnite, I played even on the monitor, there was zero input lag at all. You could play that game perfectly on through the cloud and through streaming, and it was amazing. And it honestly, it shocked me. And that's another way right there you can save your battery life if you can just stream the games. Like it's not using any of the actual hardware, you're just streaming it. You're gonna get a lot more battery life out of that if you can stream the games, if your Wi-Fi is more than capable of it. So that's another thing to note. It's just I was blown away by how good the xCloud was working on the system.
Shucks, indeed. One thing I saw, I don't know if this is something that actually works or if this is just a mistake on Steam's part, but I guess during like in some sort of ad they were doing for a Steam Deck or like a little bit of a showcase, and they were sort of like showing off like the screen, the homepage or whatever on the Steam Deck. One thing they accidentally showed on it was an emulator program that's actually a very popular one that is used quite a bit for emulating Nintendo games
Yeah,
on
Dolphin or
PC.
EmuDeck?
Uh, might have been EmuDeck.
Yeah, EmuDeck just got a big update for the Steam Deck. That's another way you can play a bunch of games. I think it's everything up through PS4 and Xbox One. You can get games for through the EmuDeck program. I was watching a video on it. It's really, really easy to get a lot of emulators on there as well. It's what a lot of people are buying it for because they can use it as, a GBA emulator, a GameCube emulator, a PlayStation emulator, what have you. They can put the games on there and just play them on the go, and it's really cool if you're into emulation. For me, I'm not that invested in emulation.
I
I
don't
was,
know. You may have just sold me on one.
It's very, very easy to do. You just get EmuDeck on there, and there's a bunch of guides out there to break down how to put it onto the system, and then they'll show up natively in your Steam library because there's a desktop mode for the Steam Deck where like it looks like a normal computer screen, and then there's the Steam Deck mode where you're in your Steam library, and it's like the PlayStation or the Xbox home screen. That's their interface. And you can get all of the emulated games to show up in your Steam library. So you can like see the cover arts and just select them straight from the Steam Deck mode. So it's something that a lot of people are doing because the Steam Deck's just powerful enough to handle those games. I saw people that had PlayStation 2 with God of War and stuff on there, or GameCube with Mario Kart Double Dash, all that stuff. So there's a lot you can do with this particular system.
I was gonna say, if you were into emulation, then your Switch might be shaking in the corner right now. Just be
Yeah,
like,
if
Master
I
Pete.
was into emulation, definitely. I'm not into I understand the point of emulating like older games that are more difficult to get, or like simply the price has gone up and they're too ridiculous to justify paying for.
Yeah, exactly. Nintendo. What?
Bless you. But for newer games, I'd rather just buy the game, and support the company that put the game out. So yeah, it is an option, but I was super interested in just seeing, the process of it, of getting the emulated games on there because I think it's cool nonetheless.
Definitely.
Any other questions on the old Steam Deck?
Yeah, when you gonna get me mine?
That's all you. When we finally get paid from the podcast, that's when you're gonna get
Yeah, I can't wait to get my $5.
it. Toby, how about you? Any questions? Any other questions, concerns?
Um, Questions or concerns? No, I am kind of hype about the fact that you can hook up like a mouse and keyboard to it. I didn't know that. That's pretty sick.
Yeah, you can do the whole nine. You can turn it into just because I believe the Steam Dock comes with a stand, so you just set it on there and then plug the USB-C into it, and just boom, it's literally just a Switch PC.
Yeah, that's pretty sick.
And I gotta say the cloud syncing between games works very, very well. As soon as you turn a game off that supports the cloud save feature, on your Steam Deck, you can pick it up on your PC or wherever you're playing your Steam games and have no issue at all. It's also
Yeah.
really cool if you have a weaker computer, like maybe you have an old Mac or an old laptop or something that can still install Steam. If you have a Steam Deck, you can stream like you could stream the PC games from your PC to the Steam Deck. You can stream the games from the Steam Deck to the PC. So say your Steam Deck's more powerful than the computer that you currently have, you can play the games natively off of the Steam Deck to whatever PC you want to play it on.
Interesting.
That'd be nice for Rico there.
Hey, how's it going? I was gonna say like that would be a good like entryway for like anybody who can't like afford like a really nice high end PC to just like I mean obviously it's still gonna cost money to get a Steam Deck, but I mean Steam Deck as opposed to like trying to get all the best possible components for a computer or paying out the ass for a pre-built one.
Yeah, like a pre-built decent one's like 2,800 compared to what you say, Nico? Like 520 was what you paid for your
Yep.
decent storage one.
For the best one, that has 512 gigabytes, and the one I paid for does have an SSD hard drive instead of like a standard hard drive, so that also helps with my download speeds and my games and everything. But outside of that, the best one that you can buy, I believe, is like 600 something for 512 gigabytes. And that does come with like a carrying case and stuff like that, and there's a couple additional features that you get with
I mean
the
still compared to getting like a higher end like decent pre-built PC, that's still the better deal.
Yeah.
I agree, and that's why I think it's a really cool system, because you can use it as a PC if you don't have the money to get a PC, but you want to you have a decent amount of expendable income, but you don't have that kind of expendable income. This is an option to get in, and I think it's a really neat option. Because you can, again, I think it avoids the warranty, but you can get the Windows stuff in the back, and then you can play games like Destiny and Call of Duty and stuff on it, which I think is pretty cool that those games are in a handheld fashion now, and you can play them.
Very nice. I like the sounds of what I'm hearing.
Yeah, it's a pretty neat system. There's been a lot of handheld systems that have been coming out recently. The last thing I want to say about the Steam Deck is that it says on the website, if you're thinking about getting one, that the wait time for it is like a 1 week to 2 weeks for delivery, because it was previously on reservations. You had to reserve one, and then they would ship it whenever they got new units ready. They've got it pretty much to the point where they can get them a week, 2 weeks out. I got mine in like 3 days, so they're getting them out pretty quick. Yeah, so they're
Gabe will deliver it himself.
Yeah, they're getting out pretty quick, so they are more and more available than they were previously. But there are just a lot.
For PS5s.
Yeah, I saw somebody saw one in the wild actually recently.
Crikey.
I know, it's crazy. I've seen Series X in the wild, but I haven't seen a PlayStation personally in the wild.
I haven't seen Series. I see Series S's more now, but
I see a lot of
X and
Series
PS5,
S.
not quite.
I've been seeing a lot of Series S for like the last year, but Series X, I did see one at my local GameStop, which was impressive.
Very impressive.
But like I was saying, like we talked a couple weeks back when we were talking about cloud gaming, about that Logitech G Cloud that they were putting out, and I was looking up reviews on that because that's released as well at this point.
Really?
Just to see how that is in comparison to the Steam Deck, and the specs are quite a bit lower. You get like 16 gigs of RAM in the Steam Deck, you get 4 in the G Cloud, but the G Cloud runs on the Android OS, so you get like Google Play and stuff. So playing things like Xbox Game Pass through the xCloud would be just as doable on that system as it would be on the Steam Deck. Or playing your Steam Link, you could do the same thing where you stream the games to the G Cloud like you could your Steam Deck. That is totally doable as well with the G Cloud. The only thing with the G Cloud is you're not going to be installing any games natively on it, and if you did, you'd blow your system up. So that's the only thing with that one. I think it's a cool piece of tech. I don't think that the price point is worth it when you could just spend an extra $50 and get in on a Steam Deck.
Oh. Yeah, I was gonna say like you get You could tell I'm the console guy when you're talking about all like the fancy PC specs. I'm just like, numbers.
I know, I've been watching your face the whole time, and your face, like when I start talking about specs, you just kind of zone out. I can tell you're like looking at something else or doing something else at the time. No, I'm right there with you. I don't care about all the like graphical specs and shit like that. Again, I play most of my games on a Switch, for Christ's sake, because of the portability factor of it. So I'm right there with you. I'm right there with you. But I figured it was something I wanted to have mainly for my channel because I figure with the portability factor, it'd be a similar audience between the Steam Deck users and the Switch users. And so far, that's proven to be true. I'm having a lot of success with those videos. And I just think it's a really cool console to mess around with. I think it's really cool.
Kind of makes you wonder, like, if the Steam Deck like really starts to take off, if like Xbox and Sony are gonna like dip their hands more into the handheld game. I mean, Xbox wouldn't really have to because, like you said, wouldn't really necessarily have to because they're already gonna have like the ability to play Xbox games in so many different fashions here soon. But I would not mind seeing Sony try and dip their hands back into the handheld consoles. The
I mean,
PSP was a phenomenal one. PS Vita, it could have been something great.
Vita was great. They just didn't support it.
do you really think that Sony needs to? Sony has games on Steam now. You can get God of War on Steam.
Yeah, but they're not coming like day and date, you know?
Well, yeah, they're
Yeah,
coming at a later date because they're trying to get more quality out of the
I mean,
game
God of
for
War just came out
resolutions.
4 years later. So, like,
Yeah, they were very slow to it, but that doesn't mean that they're gonna be slow the next time around.
I think I saw something saying like with new releases, it'll be about a year until they get put on PCs. I can't remember. It might have been IGN article. I'm not sure.
I
But I'm but
Well,
yeah, with like games like God of War Ragnarok, that will probably be on PC by this time next year maybe.
yeah, and I know Nico's gonna complain about that, but the reason that that is like we've been saying the entire time is that they're building it for a specific resolution and a specific settings for the internals of a system, whereas gamers complain about that 24/7 if
well,
they can't use their system to the maximum capacity.
I'm not gonna complain about the Sony games coming later. I think it's great that they're coming to PC because more people get to experience those games. They get to play and have like Spider-Man 2018, one of my favorite games of all time. It's fantastic. Everybody should go play that game. You can get it on your Steam Deck now. It runs fantastic. Miles Morales is also coming out. Fantastic game. Get it on your Steam
Gonna
Deck.
be sad. I've never played.
But with them coming later, I think like the argument that the Sony games are on PC is not a great one, especially considering that the PlayStation 5 are still so difficult to get. That they're not coming day and date with the console releases. I don't think that them being on PC later is doing a whole lot for them at this time, if that makes sense.
Yeah, unless because like unless they can strike some sort of deal or like maybe like create their own like PC front, like you got like the Xbox Store on most PCs, and then you got Epic Game Store, you got Steam. Either like Sony tries like get a deal going with one of them, or they start their own like PC market to try and get these games out sooner. Because that was like there was like one company acquisition they had. It was either earlier this year or sometime last year that was specifically known for like working on PC ports for games. And it's like if they give them the funding they need and like support them well enough, then they can get these games out on PC much quicker.
Or they could just, I mean, do what Xbox is doing. You could stream your games. Like if you have the upgraded PlayStation Now stuff, you could stream your games to your computer. Like I mean, you can do that already with PlayStation Share. Um but you have to have the console to do that versus Xbox. If you just have a Game Pass membership, you can do it on your phone, your Windows browser, what have you. So I think if they could get in that same boat where you can have that membership and play the games through like a Windows browser, like that would really help that case. Because like
Right.
if anybody's gonna hop back in on the handheld scene, it's going to be Sony. Because they don't currently have a way to do that outside of playing the games years later on Steam Deck. And like I've already played Spider-Man 2018. I'm not buying that game again on my Steam Deck. As much as I'd love to play it, I'm not gonna buy it again. Uh, so that doesn't like really do a whole lot for me. Versus if they were like, hey, we're putting out our subscription service now includes the ability to stream your games, and now we found a workaround so you can do it on your Steam Deck. I'm in. I'm paying that extra money to Sony right then and there.
Yeah, that's pretty fair. It'd be interesting if they did get back into the handheld game because it's not going to be like how it was before, where like the PSP and the PS Vita, they had their own like basically like exclusive stuff that you wouldn't really play on Sony's main console. But given how times have changed and things are now, if they do a handheld console, you want it to be something that's going to be able to play your God of War Ragnarok, your Spider-Man 2,
Yeah, that is the thing
Horizon
now.
Forbidden
Yeah,
West.
handheld consoles are an extension of your primary consoles. Um, So like I'm with you now where it's like you can't do something like a DS or a PSP. You have to have that console be able to run these AAA titles. Because that's just where we are technologically.
Yeah, and you can kind of thank, uh, not so much Vita, but the Switch for that because it's what the Vita tried to do, but it's what the Switch perfected.
Yeah, the Switch does it incredibly well. Obviously, it has flaws because it's 5 years old at this point, but I mean, it still runs game like No Man's Sky just came out for it, a game I never thought would be able to run on the Switch, and it runs pretty damn well. So that like yeah, it's just where we're at. Um, I don't think Xbox will ever get back into it because at this point, there's so many handheld consoles that have the streaming function that like xCloud serves that purpose. I'd be curious to see if they ever find a way to make their Xbox Game Pass PC app work on Linux, so that way you could install it and play the Game Pass games natively on your Steam Deck, like install the games to the Steam Deck, like you can your PC. I'd be curious, but with how well their infrastructure is for xCloud, I don't know that they'll ever actually invest the time into it because why would they when you can already stream it?
That and like when there's already going to be like so many different ways to play Xbox games, coming from just like having TVs with Game Pass built into them to the like Xbox Stream Stick, which honestly might get announced soon because I
I'm
guess
hoping
like
that'd be super cool.
it well, it might because like Phil Spencer, he like tweeted out a picture. You remember like back before the Series S was actually announced, he like did some sort of like video or something, and then he had like a bunch of stuff in the
Yeah,
background,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
and like in plain sight was the Series S. If you
Mm-hmm.
like looked and pay attention, I guess he kind of did somewhat the same thing again, where he just like tweeted a picture of like his like office or his space and like showing off the shelves, and people were noticing how like on the top shelf there's like this little like you could almost describe it as like a stick version of a Series S, and they're wondering if that's the like streaming stick for Xbox that's you'd be able to plug into any TV and just play Xbox games.
That's a logical next step for them, and I'm so keen on it. I'm so freaking keen on it because that like I just want another Series S, like I talked about earlier in the podcast. Like I
So
want
if you
another Series S for just Game Pass purposes. Like I go in and play my Game Pass in the living room because I don't have a console outside of my Switch in the living room. So like being able to just to have that dongle instead and spend whatever $60 to get in on the dongle, that would be freaking awesome.
yeah, as I say, like pricing is gonna be interesting for like that dongle. Like, yeah, it's a dongle, but it's like a dongle that's gonna be able to run like Xbox Game Pass and all that stuff. So I'll be curious to see how they price it. I wouldn't be surprised if they try and price it at around $100. But even then, I still think that's like a pretty fair deal to be able to like just play games off a little stick and just an easy little stick that you can connect to any TV or like casually take with you, and then you can like take it to your friend's house and hook that up, and you can play Forza together.
Yeah, I'm looking right now. So I'm looking at Chromecasts and their
Mm,
price. $30 for Chromecast. I know you can get like Roku's for like $40 ish. Same with Fire Sticks. And I'd imagine it's a similar hardware. I'm wondering if with the dongle it'll have like an actual interface that'll be like the Xbox interface, and you can still put things like Twitch and YouTube and stuff on it, and
I
have
would
that.
think
Now,
so.
and that would make sense. Agree with you on the $100 price point, not because I think the stick itself is going to cost that. I think it's because the controller that you're going to get is going to be an Xbox controller.
More than likely.
So
It'd have to be.
that would make more sense in terms of being the price point. Now, I'm sure they just sell it as like a $40 without the controller. You know what I mean? Like if you're already an
Yeah,
Xbox
it's
owner and you just want the dongle, I'm sure that they would have an option for that.
Yeah, I definitely think it's gonna be like not necessarily like super pricey, but definitely like pricier compared to other dongles. Because like with all that other stuff, the reason why they're not like super overpriced, unless you get yourself like the fucking 4K $100 Apple TV or $200, however much it is. The only reason why I think it'd be more is because like those ones, the price doesn't come from the stick; it comes from like what you're gonna be adding onto it with all your streaming services, and you're gonna be pouring into
Yeah.
those. Now with this, you might be able to do that same thing, but then you also gonna be able to play Game Pass off it and all these different games. So that's why I'm kind of worrying. Like, is that gonna affect like their pricing with it? Or are they gonna like include Game Pass as a part of like a deal? Like you get this stick and then you get like 3 months free
I
of
could see
Game
them doing
Pass
that.
as
Like it
soon as
comes
you
with a
get it.
little gift card. They get 3 months of Game Pass,
Yeah,
and then
something
you
like
pay the subscription after the fact.
I mean,
yeah,
if not 3 month, at least a month, because I think I got a month for free just for buying my Series S.
Yeah.
yeah. Which so like they're no stranger to doing that.
Yeah. I'm super excited about the idea of it because it's like at that price point, everybody can get in on Xbox. This is why I think Xbox is the best place to play games. Truthfully, is because they're more focused on getting the games out to people, no matter what it takes. They're not worried about selling units. They just want people in on the service, and I think it's fantastic being able to play it. I have one of
Yeah,
those. What are they called? I don't even know. It's a Razer thing. It clips onto my iPhone. I can play XCloud like I would on my Steam Deck on my iPhone. It's fantastic.
yeah, exactly. Like Xbox is at the point like Xbox has basically found their identity now to where like they're not like it's not they're not going to get their money from selling consoles. It's going to be from selling their services and getting Game Pass out to as many people as possible, no matter what way it is, whether it's coming installed on your fucking Samsung TV, the streaming stick, your consoles, your PC, your Steam decks, anywhere possible, you're going to be able to play Game Pass. Hell, who the fuck knows? Maybe in like years' time, we're gonna somehow get Game Pass on PlayStations because the world is gonna go to fuck all.
I think before that we'll have it on Switch. Truthfully, Nintendo and
Probably.
Xbox are pretty tight, so I'm hopeful that one day we'll get it on Switch, and that would be an absolute game changer. Um, but yeah, they're just, and I think truthfully that by getting more people in with the dongle, or just like we talked previously in an episode about it going to Samsung TVs, it's going to be native on all 22 models and up. um just getting people in on Game Pass will sell more consoles in the long run, because then people will be like, oh, I really like Xbox, I'm gonna just get a Series X, so that way all my save files transfer over and I can keep playing on in their actual gaming setup, and then they have the option to go to another room and just pick up where they left off on a Game Pass game. Like, that is going to, in my opinion, sell more consoles. Now we'll have to wait and see if that'll hold true, but I think it will.
It'll have to depend on like who necessarily is like taking up these offers because like if it's just like like parents signing their kids up for it just so they have a distraction for them, there the likelihood of them getting a console is like very slim.
Yeah.
The people who would actually be considering getting a console are like people like me or like say like Tony or like you. If you guys basically like say none of us had Xboxes at all and the stream stick comes out and we're playing these games like, hey, this is a pretty nice time, but it's like, but now I might want to play this at, like higher fidelities or like see like what these games really can look like. It's like, I think I'm going to get myself a Series S or Series X now.
Yeah.
But I'm still going to keep on to this so I can like, if I go traveling somewhere, I can just play with me.
Yeah. That is the case for a lot of it. But like, I gotta say, because I've been playing so much XCloud handheld lately, between the Steam Deck and then, like I said, I have that Razer thing for my phone that I can use. Um, on the lower resolutions, because the Steam Deck runs natively at 1200 over 800, and then whatever iPhones, whatever. On smaller screens, you don't even notice like a fidelity hit. Really, it's
Yeah,
crazy.
I figured you wouldn't notice like too much with like smaller like phone screens. I know there's actual like phones out there like gaming phones specifically you can get like to where it's almost like practically the power of a console in your hand. But like with fidelity on that small screen, you're not gonna care too much about
Yeah,
it.
it's just crazy. I love, like, I've always been a handheld gamer. The DS and the 3DS were my shit. Love it. Um and just where we've gone with handheld gaming since, it just makes me so happy as a gamer.
It's evolved like more than you would expect it to if you like were to think back years ago.
Yeah, it's crazy. But I think we need to wrap this up. We've been going over an hour at this point, and I could see us just keep talking for a long, long time. So let's wrap it up. This has been the latest episode. Thank you all for hanging out with us. You can check us out on Twitter. We have an Enter the Chat page on Twitter. In terms of socials, I'm the only one that shares my stuff. Nico Gaming at everything. Twitter is the main platform that I'm on all the time, tweeting stuff, talking about stuff. And then my YouTube channel, Nico Gaming, where I am over there talking right now, a lot of Steam Deck stuff because, I just got it. And, but a lot of Switch stuff is my main jam. And then I do review other stuff when that comes, like I'll probably review Modern Warfare because how could I not, so all that stuff, all my other gaming stuff that I do without the guys, over on Nico Gaming, check that out. And then this podcast, make sure if you're watching it on YouTube, leave a comment, like, subscribe for more. We do these once a week. And then we're available on all podcast services. So Spotify, Apple, if you're on Apple, leave a 5-star review. It helps us out a lot. But that is going to be it. Thanks again. And we'll catch you next week. Peace.
Bye-bye.
Bye.